Hey YouTube, welcome back to a special episode here on the Lincoln Williams Show. Yes, today's the day, but first I just wanted to say that Joe Biden is officially now president, and yay, whoopee! So I just wanted to say that Joe Biden is now president now. I hope he can take care of this COVID virus, whatever he's doing in office. Hope he can do it. But anyways, that's one of the highlights of this week that I've been rambling about. And yeah. So today we're going to be doing a special review on one of my favorite Super Nintendo games that you can play. One of the best Super Nintendo games of all time, basically. One of the best Super Nintendo games of all time. Yes, it's another one of these types of games, but this time it's in 2D. It's for Super Nintendo, and it's considered to be the number one best Super Nintendo game because of its free roaming mechanics and things like that. Free roaming mechanics. And, so yeah. So today's game that we're going to be reviewing today is that's right. The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. Man, The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past is pure perfection out of a Zelda game. It's pure perfection. It's one of the best. It's the number one top-down Zelda game of all time, basically. This is a classic. This is a classic. So, yeah, this is definitely a classic YouTubers. So yeah, for the Super Nintendo. And my girlfriend has a Super Nintendo. I mean, so yeah, she has a Super Nintendo, but she does not have this game that I'm about to review today. So yeah, so this game can be accessed like, all the time now. People can play it on emulators, an actual Super Nintendo, or a Super Nintendo clone, or a Super Nintendo portable. And you can also play it on Wii U, 3DS, original Wii, if you like mod it or something like that. So you can actually play it on 2DS, the new 2DS. This has to be clear. I'm making my very self clear on this one. It has to be on a new 2DS XL or a new 3DS XL. So because of the extra processing power that the 2DS or the 3DS provides. So it has to have those types of elements to it. So it has to have those types of power elements to it. So yeah, we're actually going to be reviewing one of the best 2D Zelda games of all time, and this is no joke. This is one of my favorite. This is one of my favorite 2D Zelda games of all time. So yeah, let's dive right into the review. Before I do, I just wanted to share with you that this game was originally one of the best 2D Zeldas. I basically finished the remake of The Legend of Zelda: A Link Between Worlds for the 3DS and the 2DS and all that stuff. So yeah, that was actually really, really good. It was actually really, really good. So I'll talk about some of the elements that A Link Between Worlds brought, then A Link to the Past and all that stuff. So I'm going to talk about some similarities going back and forth and all that stuff. So yeah. So So basically, yeah. So I basically have. Now, I have not beaten the game yet, but I know what's going to happen and all that stuff. So, because I looked up so many gameplay videos of it, but I haven't actually beaten the game yet because this game is tough. This game is tough, YouTubers, and that's why I decided to buy this. Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past guide. It's a strategy guide that I have to read all the time. So see, look at that. Yeah, so it's a book. It's a book that I have to read to be able to beat the game, basically. So, yeah. So this is actually a really helpful guide when it comes to Legend of Zelda and all that stuff. So it's the ultimate guide how to beat A Link to the Past and all that stuff. So yeah, so it has the map on the back and all that stuff. So yeah, so let's dive right in to. So this is one of the best Zeldas ever made. This is one of the best Zeldas ever made. The best 2D Zeldas ever made. The best 3D Zelda would have to be Ocarina of Time, which is basically takes Ocarina of Time basically perfected the 3D Zelda adventure. This, how on the other hand, perfected the 2D Zelda adventure on Super Nintendo back in 1991. So it's 1991 and you don't know what to play on a rainy day or a COVID day when you're trying to stay inside your household in 1991 or something like that. I'm just throwing examples out there. What would you do if you were bored? So you would actually play The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past back in the day. Now we got so many other games to basically play, like Breath of the Wild and all that stuff. So Breath of the Wild was phenomenal. It was a phenomenal game. Zelda Breath of the Wild. So yeah, if you don't know what I'm actually talking about. Sorry, I was just doing a little, I had to shave, so that's why I see these little marks down there. So yeah, so anyways, I was shaving. So anyways, for this review, so yeah, let's dive right in to the review. Let's dive right into the review. So you decide to play Zelda Breath of the Wild. Okay, so what to expect of the game. So the game opens up. So there's going to be a little bit of spoilers, but not really. There's not really a whole lot of story elements to this game. There's not a whole lot of story elements. You just craft your own adventure and all that stuff. So anyways, so let's dive right in. You create a character, you select it. Well, you don't really create a character, but you name yourself, and then the game opens up. So the game, so the game is basically saying to you in the beginning that Link wakes up in the middle of the night because he hears this voice in that. He hears this voice in his head, and that basically the voice is telling him, please save me from the castle. I'm imprisoned," or something like that. And that's Princess Zelda, telepathically communicating with Link from a jail cell while he's, sleeping or something like that. So yeah, so Link wakes up. He knows that he has to save the princess from the jail cell, and so basically he sneaks into the castle by going to the right. You always go to the right when you go to the castle gates. You always go to the right. You don't go inside the gates. You go to the right and then go up, and then you just pick up the leaf, and you just fall down into the hole, and then the adventure begins inside the castle and all that stuff. So yeah, and So yeah, you rescue Princess Zelda and all that stuff, and basically you take her to Sanctuary. Basically, you take her to the church. Basically, so you take her to Sanctuary, the church, and so yeah, it's actually pretty. This game actually kind of gets religious and all that stuff, but anyways, but so anyways, you take her to the church and all that stuff, and she stays there for like 3 levels in. So yeah, so she stays there for 3 dungeons in the game and all that stuff. The dungeons in the light world basically are they're basically kind of hard, not kind of hard, but if you don't know what you're doing, you could die and all that stuff if you're not careful. So yeah, so be warned. So yeah, this game actually gets kind of hard, but it's good. You got statues that are moving. You got statues. One of the boss battles is statues that are coming at you, and you have to shoot them with a bow and all that stuff. There's what is it? There's the worm bot. There's the worm boss. There's the snake boss, and there's the and then there's the Moldorm, which is the caterpillar thing boss. That one is the toughest because you have to hit it with its tail, and if it knocks you off, then it just transports you down into the floor. Like you got up to the tower, and then it transports you down to the floor again. So you have to go back up and restart the whole entire boss again. It gets really irritating. So yeah, and during the 3rd level of the game. So yeah, you got statues. You got statues. You got what else? You got a snake boss in the sand temple and all that stuff. And then the tower temple is so yeah, the tower temple is where things get a little tough in the dark world. Not in the dark world, but in the light world. Yeah. So after you've done all that, you go to the Lost Woods, pick up the Master Sword, and you're ready to take on the wizard who's been corrupting the castle and that put Princess Zelda inside the prison. So you go, so the evil wizard killed the king and all that stuff of Hyrule, and Princess Zelda was locked in a dungeon, and now you have to go. So basically, after you get the Master Sword, you head back to Sanctuary, telling that the priest has been killed or badly wounded, badly hurt, and Zelda has been captured again, and you have to go and save her in Hyrule Castle. So you have to do that, and all this, and so as you fight your way up to the tower of the castle and all that stuff, basically, you're greeted with a message that this isn't over and all that stuff, and you meet up with the wizard, the evil wizard, Aghanim or something like that. So you basically you meet up with the wizard, and he's like, and he has this spell wrapped around Zelda and all that stuff, and it's like, what? And he's like, watch, Link, while I vanish your precious princess right in front of your eyes. And he just, and then he just spreads magic all around her, and then he just disappears, and she just disappears to the light world, to the dark world. Sorry, I'm getting my light world and dark worlds mixed up, but you have to and then all of a sudden it turns into this ping pong ball tournament and all that stuff. You're just playing ping pong with this guy. You're playing like baseball, like ding 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 ding, and all that stuff. And basically, yeah, and he's like, you may have defeated me this round, but now I will transport you to the dark world of your demise and all that stuff. So he transports Link to the dark world, basically. And you think that the game is over, but no, it's only just beginning. Your true task in the dark world. It's like in Ocarina of Time, where you think you have everything under control as a young kid, but then you have to go through stages in, life, like eat your green beans and all that stuff, and become an adult, basically. And you have to do adult, quests, basically, in Ocarina of Time. In Link to the Past, you just basically do, dark world themed dungeons and all that stuff. This world can be tricky to get around and all that stuff. So you have been warned. So when you're playing this game and all that stuff, but good thing I got my guide so that I could do all that. So there's a total of 12 to So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 9, 10, 11. I think there's a total of 11 dungeons or 12 dungeons in this game. And it's a lot. It's a lot of dungeons. And these dungeons kind of get hard. These dungeons kind of get hard. The Shadow Temple, the Shadow Temple basically gets it's kind of like a maze and all that stuff, and you have to do specific points at very specific points in time and all that stuff. So you're going in directions, go here, or something like that. It's all over the place. But yeah, there's also a water dungeon, and there's also a I don't know. I mean, I only completed half of this game. Basically, there's like this fire and ice boss. There's this like fire and ice boss in Death Mountain and all that stuff. So the Ice Palace is where things get really hard. It gets really hard if you don't do precise movements while you're running around in the dungeon and all that stuff. It gets kind of hard and all that stuff. But yeah, you just rescue the sages that are inside that are in the little crystals and in the temples and all that stuff. So you rescue the sages and all that stuff, and when you complete a dungeon and all that stuff, to unlock Ganon's castle and all that stuff, and then so the game is actually good. The first time I've ever heard about this game was basically I was just listening to this. I was listening to Zelda Link to the Past soundtrack, and back in like middle school or something like that. I mean, I played a lot of Super Nintendo back in the day. In my middle school years, I owned a Retro Duo at the time, and that's when I got into Zelda Link to the Past during my middle school years, and so yeah, it was actually really, really fun. So basically, so yeah, that's when I met Chris and all that stuff. Christopher Nickel, yeah. So he's still in quarantine at this point, and we haven't gotten back together. It's been so long, but yeah. So yeah, it's crazy. So yeah, you have to upgrade your sword. You have to upgrade your shield. And you have been warned, this is a hard Zelda game. And this is a completionist Zelda game that every item that you get is, oh man, hiccup. Dang it. Come on. So anyways, so me and Chris talked about this game like pretty much all the time. And Chris beat it this year and all that stuff. So it's been pretty good talking to him about that and helping him about that, So through the game and all that stuff with my guide and all that stuff. So all right, anyways, you basically get up to Ganon's tower after you defeat all the sages. And there's also like mini games and things and side quests to distract you while you're on your adventures and all that stuff. And then you go up against Aghanim again, the wizard, and you basically go up against Aghanim the wizard again, and then he transforms into his true form, which is Ganon. And he's now not in Ganon's castle, but in the pyramid and all that stuff. And then you have to fight him and you have to shoot your light arrows and all that stuff. But I don't know how you get those light arrows. So anyways, I'm actually kind of spoiling myself, but I already know what happens. So, the kingdom. So after you defeat Ganon, you get the princess back, and you save the dark world and the light world. So, one of the creepiest, I think one of the creepiest parts in the game is when you basically go into this one dungeon where it's all like prison based and all that stuff, and you rescue this girl, and who is this girl in one of the dungeons? And you basically like get her out into this one room. It's like, take me to this one room, and I'm like, why? And I'm like, and I don't know what she was up to, but that's what dungeon I'm in right now and all that stuff. But I haven't even gotten to the boss yet. But I know what happens. She basically she goes into this one room and she's like affected by this like sunlight or something like that. And then all of a sudden, what the crap? She turns into a demon-like ghost figure thing that's shooting fireballs everywhere, and you have to it's like, holy crap. So she's just shooting fireballs everywhere, and then you have to attack her head, attack her body, attack her head, and attack her ghostly figure and all that stuff. I'm like, what the heck is going on? So it's like, oh my gosh, she's like, I'm guessing that she was like possessed or something like that, like a demon or something like that. But anyway, so that's the only scary part about the game. Nothing else is really bosses are pretty good and all that stuff. The boss battles are pretty rememberable. You have to use like a bomb or arrows in the shadow temple boss and all that stuff. And so anyways, so out of all the things that I've done so far in A Link to the Past, it really is a really special Zelda game that should get some treatment over the years. If people are still playing retro video games to this very day, you should just play this. So you should play this game. So Yep. I even have a poster in it in my office. I have a poster of it in my office, sitting right next to my desk in Replay Retro. So that people know that it's one of the best Super Nintendo games of all time when they walk in. It's like, oh, hey, there's Zelda, and all that stuff. So anyways, so as a completionist game, it's really completionist, full of completionist stuff to do and all that stuff. And, I'm going to be playing this game for years. It's so good. It's like, it's just so good, YouTubers. But there's so much more things to do in this game for me before I get to the final boss and all that stuff. So, you can play this on your Super Nintendo Classic, your Super Nintendo, your SNES clone, or your SNES clone portable. So that's to keep in mind. So there's lots of ways that you can play this game that's easily accessible. So the final verdict for The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past is a gold seal of approval of one of the best Super Nintendo games ever made. Basically, it's a legendary 10 out of 10. Legendary status. It's one of the best 2D adventures that you can ever play. And it has some shocking moments that I just mentioned. So, All right, guys, that'll do it up for this review. I have my birthday's coming up next week, so I have no idea what I'm going to be doing for that. I have no idea, but I hope I get to chat with some of my friends on my birthday. So next week it's the 29th, and I'm gonna be like 24 or something like that. So yeah, it's actually really kind of crazy. So So final verdict for Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past is a 10 out of 10. Go play it. Go play it. And all that stuff. That is a direct order from your reviewer, Lincoln Williams, and all that stuff. So go play it. You're going to have fun. But just don't scream at the TV while you're trying to, beat some of the boss fights or something like that. So, anyways, YouTubers. So I'll be back with another review. So looks like the next review is probably going to be Doctor Who Revolution of the Daleks review. I'll be doing a review of that and posting my opinions about that and all that stuff. So about the episode special that occurred in 2020 and all that stuff. So, or 2021, I don't know when this, but yeah, so Doctor Who Revolution of the Daleks has a really special positive message that should be, it should be mentioned on this channel because, but anyways, YouTubers, I'll be back someday in the next little bit, and so I'll be back someday, YouTubers.